Well, the last Sunday of the year at Scottsdale CSL is always fun because we do have our Burning Bowl ceremony. It's a time of remembering, reminiscing, if you will, about our previous year. And it seems like just yesterday to me that I was standing here and we were talking about releasing 2017. And here we are already, a blink of an eye, releasing 2018. Reminiscing about the good that has happened in our lives and looking at that and looking forward to the adventure of 2019. And what is it that we're going to create in 2019? So what are your thoughts as you approach this transition between the years, this acknowledgement of a change between the letting go of the old year and the acceptance and moving into the new year? Are you excited? Are you enthusiastic? Are you looking forward? Are you facing it with some fear and trepidation, some concern or some worry? What's next? What's next? For the past probably month or so, I've been noticing attitudes. Yeah, I've been noticing attitudes. And so as I've looked at that, I've begun to look at how people express that. And that is our attitude the only filter through which the divine flows that makes us all unique and individual. It's kind of an interesting concept as I've thought about it. Ernest Holmes, our founder, the author of Science of Mind, and the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, he says in his book, Richer Living, our mental attitudes are our most priceless possession. No material security is actually secure, but the deep issues of our thought can make or unmake us. Can make or unmake us. And we see this in form all around us, don't we? We see this in form. As I've been out and about this past week, I took time off from the real estate office and time off from church, actually. I just kind of stepped away from everything and decided to have a joy-filled holiday season. So I was out and about, and I was noticing people's attitudes in the lines at the grocery or the bank, on the freeway, right? In the stores, the people that were working there, the people that were shopping there, and all of this sort of thing. So I was just noticing the attitudes. And I was beginning to watch how their attitudes were being responded to. Was the person they were talking to responding to them in the same manner in which they were behaving? And I began to see some correlations there. I began to see how it would either be, if someone was angry, it would be met with either resistance, defensiveness, or they would totally be intimidated and shut down. But there was not communication necessarily that was happening. So I began to watch this and notice the correlation. If someone was deflated in their, and I'm going to say, in their appearance, in the way that they held their body and everything, there was a correlation with the way they were treated. Now, I know this sounds discriminatory, doesn't it? We're not supposed to judge like that. And yet, if we take this to a higher level of consciousness, to that energetic vibration, our attitudes are that which is cause and effect, right? It's cause and effect. So, of course, as I was doing this, I get to turn that spotlight and mirror right back on myself, right? Of course, that's how this works. So I began to watch myself and my own reactions and my own attitude in being out in the stuff. And Friday was a wonderful day. Anybody else out Friday? Was Scottsdale crazy? Yeah. And the more I complained about it, the crazier it got. Yeah. I mean, crazy stuff. Anyway, I was gifted with some beautiful boots for Christmas. Thank you, Santa. And he's such a good Santa that they were the wrong size knowingly, but he ordered the right size for me. And they were supposed to be in on Friday. So I went Friday to pick them up, right? And I was in a lovely mood, and I went into the store. 45 minutes later, when they can't find the order, I'm just tooling around the store looking around. It's like, okay. And the manager comes out, and he's frustrated because he can't find the order. And he finally finds the order, and he says, well, I found the order, but they weren't ordered. And I said, oh. And he said, when do you need them? I said, well, I was going dancing tonight, but I guess I can wear my old ones. They still work. And he went, wow, thank you for your attitude. I really appreciate that. And that's when I knew that's what my talk was about. When he said the word attitude, it's like, I got to talk about it. But that was very revealing to me that he was expecting to be defensive. He was expecting me to attack him because that order had not been placed. But I smiled to myself and I thought, it's only a pair of boots. Now granted, if I was wearing those to my wedding the next day, I might be a little upset. I might have a different attitude about it. But in this case, I didn't. And I had an intention of being joy-filled. So that was very interesting to me to witness that interaction and be a part of that. Another way that we see this idea of our mental attitudes expressed is in the entrepreneurs who have made millions of dollars and lose them in bankruptcy, only to come back and do it again. They're almost like serial entrepreneurs, aren't they? I've seen it for 25 years here in the Valley in our real estate community. Many home builders will ride the wave up and they're doing great, and then it crashes. They lose everything, only to come back in the next cycle, maybe as a different home builder name, but they come back and again are successful and doing very well. Doing very well. And we see this in articles on the internet as well, famous names you may know. MC Hammer, remember him? Hammer Time! Remember that guy? He's gone up and down so many times, and he's very successful right now. But he was very successful in the 90s as a rap singer, but lost it all. Lost it all. Martha Stewart, she was splashed all over the news, right? She even went to jail. But she's back. She's in Macy's. She's partnered with Macy's. She's back on top again. Larry King had it all, lost it all. People that, Steve Jobs is another great example. So you may be wondering, how do they do that when I can't even put together enough of a nest egg for my retirement? How did they do this? Doesn't seem fair, does it? Doesn't seem fair. They had it once. They should have hung on to it. Attitude. I think it's their attitude. It's the attitude that they are receivers. And I've been asked the question over the years. It's like, well, you know, I go to church all the time and I practice these principles, but it's still not working for me. How come these bad people who don't go to church have all this money? Why does that happen? You ever heard of gravity? Just because you don't believe in gravity doesn't mean if you jump off a building you're not going to hit the ground pretty hard, right? The same is true with these universal laws. Even though they're not here in service, practicing these principles, learning how to more effectively apply them in their lives, they're still using the same laws. They believe they're successful. They have a success mindset, a successful attitude. And we have heard this from Ernest Holmes, Tony Robbins, every success teacher, every motivational speaker, author that's out there, every coach knows that it's the attitude, isn't it? It's the attitude. And that's the thing that we can control, isn't it? You all know Zig Ziglar is one of my favorite teachers, one of my first teachers when I first started learning about positive mind principles. And his famous quote is, your attitude, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. Say that 5 times really quick. But that was the first quote that I began to remember when I started learning these principles. And I realized that a little old country girl from Southwest Virginia might not have a whole lot of aptitude, but she certainly had some attitude. And that's something I could choose, something I could control, something I could build upon. Ernest Holmes, He says, it is our mental attitude that decides what we are to become and nothing else. I think he said it before Zig did, just in a little different way. Our state of mind, our state of thinking. Change your thinking, change your life. You heard Don say that earlier. It's one of our core teachings. Attitude, a positive mental attitude. Expecting the good to flow through us. Because we are divine beings of spirit. Spirit is always giving. And it's our attitude that can stop it, isn't it? It's our attitude that can stop it. If we're resistant, if we don't believe that we're worthy, if we don't believe we're good enough, if we don't believe we should receive it. It's our attitude. It becomes those filters in our creative process that jumble things up and we get those wonky manifestations, as I call them. So the tendency of our thinking is reflected back to us as our life experience. Would you agree? Yeah. And sometimes that can be icky to take, especially when things are not looking good. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't create this. I didn't create this. And it's only because we've got those filters that we may not be recognizing that we have. So 2018 is coming to a close. Tomorrow night comes to a close. How did your attitude in this past 12 months, as we look back quickly, how did your attitude impact your year? How did it impact your intentions and your manifestations that were set for in January that we did last year? How did your attitude impact those things? All year our theme has been your prosperous life. Your prosperous life. And we have used Edwene Gaines' definition of prosperity. Vitally alive, healthy body for the God being that we are to express through relationships that are joyous, satisfying, intimate, honest, and nurturing, and that work all the time. Imagine that. All the time. Work that we love so much that it's not work but play. And all the money we can spend. Now, many of us, when we hear the word prosperity, we think money, don't we? Think money. But prosperity is wholeness. Prosperity is the wholeness of life unfolding through us in magnificent ways. How has your prosperous year been in relationship, in career, finances, health? Have you begun to look back or think back on the year and what was created, what was manifested, what you built? Looked at your journal maybe? Read what happened on February 12th last year? Yeah, it's a good way to explore. It's a wonderful time to reflect and even sometimes release. Sometimes release. It's also a good time of gratitude, isn't it? It's a wonderful time to look back and be grateful for the experiences that we've had in that year, for the good that has come to us in that year, for the lessons that we've learned, for the spiritual and emotional growth that we've had as we continue on our spiritual unfolding. So is there anything in your life you don't want to drag into 2019? One or two, maybe? Yeah? Couple of things? Okay. Things we're ready to forgive, things we're ready to release, or maybe we're just done. We're just finished with that experience. It's time to move on. Career issues, financial stress, relationship challenges or a lack of relationship, poor health, fitness, or diet. What thoughts, things, or even people do we need to release into 2018? And remember, release is that idea of surrender, isn't it? Of letting go. I often think of just falling back into a pool of water and just floating, and just letting go, surrender to that which is greater than I am. So ceremony and ritual are ways that we acknowledge our journey in life together. It's a pause to look at the points of light, if you will, on the path Whether it's a baby blessing, a wedding ceremony, a celebration of life, an animal blessing, whatever it is, it's a ritual and a ceremony that we pause and acknowledge something special here. Something special here. The burning bowl ceremony that we have here today is an ancient ritual that is designed to acknowledge a rite of passage. A rite of passage. And we use the purifying element of fire. We use fire to let go and surrender what no longer serves us on our forward journey, because we're always moving forward. We're always evolving, aren't we? We're always expanding and growing. And sometimes we have to let go and leave behind things that no longer serve us. For those of us that have moved a couple of times in their lives, you know there's always things you kind of let go of that you need to leave behind when you move into a new place. They don't fit necessarily. So sometimes we need to leave behind. And as Suzanne said this morning in her beautiful meditation before service, sometimes we need to let go of things in order to make room for more of the divine in our life. More of the divine in our life. So letting go, releasing beliefs, an event, a condition, a relationship, an unfulfilled dream. Sometimes we hang on to those unfulfilled dreams and it's just no longer working for us. Anything that no longer serves your highest good for your next greatest yet to be. Let that go. So this is an acknowledgement of your evolution of consciousness in the last 12 months. It's kind of a fun thing to think about, isn't it? Where you were in January and where you are today. So I'm going to invite you to just take a couple of minutes now and consider what is that thing, thought, belief, circumstance that you're ready to let go of. Think of what that is. And I'm going to invite Annie to come up. Are you going to be my usher? Or ushers. I think we might need 2 ushers this morning. Lisa or Kathy, thank you. They are going to come by and hand out pencils and flash paper. If you're not familiar with flash paper, it's very thin paper that is flammable, so no smoking. Write gently on your flash paper what it is you'd like to release. This is just for you. Just for you. No one else will see this. Write what it is that you'd like to release, and then just gently crumple that. Don't make it into a tight ball because it won't burn, but just gently crumple it, and then the ushers will come back around and collect your written on flash paper, and we'll get rid of it up here in the bowl. Joe, would you start some music for us, our Karen Drucker? Karen's going to sing for us while you work on this. Right on the soft paper. Yeah, I need one. This one, okay, they're giving you a second one. Hold on to that one. This one you're going to plant some seeds with. Go ahead. Thank you. I surrender. Annie. Thank you. I surrender. Okay, did everybody get a little piece of the white paper? Okay. Don? He just did one side? Okay. I allow, I surrender. I allow, I surrender. I allow, I surrender. I allow, I surrender. Everybody get flash paper now? I allow, I surrender, I allow, oh wait, here, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I allow, I surrender, I allow. Anybody else that did not? Okay. Anybody else? One more. All right. Is that everyone? Oh, one more. Roxy. Anybody else in the room did not get there? There we go. All right. Amen. Double amen. They do. Thank you. Anybody else? Is that it? I did. That I did. All right. So would you join me in an affirmation for all of this? I release what no longer supports my journey to make room for the desires of my heart. And so it is. Take a nice deep breath. Ready? Ready to let it go. All right. Oh dear. Feel better? She'll be in the showroom all week. Yeah. It's always my favorite part. Letting it go. It's that easy. It really is that easy to let it go by choosing. By choosing. So what have we done? We've cleared the field, haven't we? We've made space. We've created a void. It's time to plant those seeds. The other little card that you got are for your intentions, or an intention, a word for this coming 2019. And we're going to give you a few minutes to do that. And we're going to play some music in just a second. Chant along if you would like. Take some meditation time if you'd like to set this intention. When you are ready, come forward with your intention. Drop it in the bowl, which is cleared. And that's okay. Light a candle. Light a candle for yourself. If you need some help, a couple of ideas. 2019 will be a good year when? Or 2019 was a great year because. So a couple of ways that you can formulate that question in your mind to get your mind to focus around, wow, I'm living in the moment of 2019, 12/31. I'm so happy and grateful now that. So, thank you. Well, we've got a fun little thing here. Who I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. Thank you. Look at it. Who I am. Beautiful, beautiful. We lit the rest of the candles for those that could not be with us today and those that are still on their way to us. So we have illuminated our table today and our intentions for 2019. I want to close us today with a quote from Ernest Holmes. He says, "Our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which of itself is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite." So it's not a question of its willingness, nor of its ability. It's entirely a question of our own receptivity. So my question to you today is, are you ready to receive the intentions that you have written in the bowl? My prayer is that these go home with me this year and are on my altar in prayer with you each day. And we'll revisit again on 12/31/19. Please join me in anchoring this in prayer this morning. How good it is that we come together on Sunday in the celebration of light and life, and celebration of each other, as we recognize that there is only this infinite, loving presence that gives, that creates, that is always available to us, through us, as us. And as we recognize that this power and this presence is God, is the infinite, is the divine, we open ourselves to the willingness to allow it to have its way through us in this manifestation process. Releasing anything that we burned away this morning, we allow that to just be free, be gone, turning back into its native nothingness, releasing it. And we open in receptivity to the manifestation of not only our own intention that we placed in the bowl, but to every intention that's in that bowl. For we know as community, when we come together and hold the high watch for each other, that there is power in that number. So I bless every intention. I bless each one of us. I bless us into 2019 as we let go of and release 2018, blessing it in great gratitude for all that it brought to us, all that we have experienced, all of the joy and the love and the laughter and the lessons and the growth and the expansion. Everything. For it's all good in the really big picture of life. And I know joy, harmony, abundance, prosperity, wisdom, intelligence, healthy relationships, rewarding careers, healthy bodies, an abundance of finances flowing to and through each one of us as we jump into 2019 and this beautiful experience. And how grateful I am for this manifestation. Grateful for all that's been shared here this day. Grateful for the knowledge that God is all there is. And all of it is right here, right now. So I release this into the activity of universal law, knowing that it is done, it is so, and we affirm this together by saying, and so it is.